What's up, y'all? Sorry it's taking me so long to get to this video, but and you might notice my background looks a bit different. We had it painted, so it's why I've not been able to do videos the past few days. So today, I am gonna finally do my Hateful Eight review. And sorry about that. There's like wasps flying around. But I will be reviewing Hateful Eight tomorrow. Since last night or yesterday, Jurassic World Dominion released their trailer. I'm gonna do a reaction to it, so I'll be doing that tomorrow. Actually, no. Today I will be reviewing this movie, and then later today I'll be reviewing Hardball, and then tomorrow, like I said, I'll do that Jurassic video. But other than that, Hateful Eight is, I think, Tarantino's 8th film before his final one, which is for right now until he does another movie. And Hateful Eight came out back in 2015. I didn't see it when it came out. I think I saw it like a year or two later. And I remember really liking it. It's a great, like, Western. It almost, in a way, is like a sequel to Django, even though Samuel L. Jackson's a different character in this. But it has, like, that Western. That's why, I like the they did a good job of really making it feel like it's 1800s and it's a Western, a different type of Western. I love the chapter aspect. I think there's a lot of interesting characters. One thing I've heard a lot of people bring up, not a lot of people, but a couple of people bring up as negatives is that there's no likable characters. But I expect a movie called Hateful Eight that they're not going to be like the most moral people. Like most of Tarantino's movies, a lot of the characters are not, they're if they're good, they're not like, Superman, not kill good. Like they will kill if they have to. Like even like The Bride, like the characters in these movies are not just goody two shoes type. So it's expected. I think there's just so many good performances. VIP of the film is Walton Goggins as Tris Mannix. He was fucking great. Had so many great lines. I just think all around Walton Goggins just a great like character actor. I mean, he was awesome in Django. He was great in Predators. So I definitely really like his character in this, and his dynamic with Samuel L. Jackson as Marquise Warren was really great. The only character I didn't really care for was Daisy. And that was more, not necessarily, it wasn't Jennifer Jason Leigh's fault. I think she did a good job of playing an unlikable chick, but to me, she was just unlikable for the sake of being unlikable. I don't think, like, though that scene where she is playing the guitar and singing is actually not really bad. But everything else, you just, I don't know, just didn't do it for me. Kurt Russell as Hangman, John Ruth was really good. It's, and the way the marketing is, you would think he's the main character, but no, he dies halfway through, pretty much. And it becomes like a murder mystery and who killed him and then who killed Minnie and the people before at that lodge. And it just, one thing I didn't know and I found out this week that apparently it's heavily inspired by The Thing. And I could see it, especially it's snowed in. There's this mystery. It's almost big. They start becoming like paranoid of each other and stuff like that. But great performances, I think. I like another thing about this film. Not a lot of set pieces. I mean, most of the film is literally in this lodge, or like the beginning, they're traveling through the woods, and then when they get to the lodge, pretty much the rest of the movie's at the lodge, really. So that's the thing about Tarantino films sometimes. Especially, it's almost like him going back to his Reservoir Dog days where there's only like really one set piece the whole time. So, and the flashbacks are done well. They don't like one chapter essentially is just a giant flashback, which is I think it's chapter, the second to last chapter. So, but definitely a great film. Really awesome ending. It's like I said, it's not my, if I were to rank this, and I'm going to eventually doing a ranking, this would definitely be like middle of the road. It's not like up there like the upper echelon of Tarantino films, but it's definitely really good. Especially like they did a good job of making it like a period piece. It didn't feel like, oh, it's just a modern movie with a period piece setting. They actually did a good job of making it accurate to the time. So, but other than that, let's kick off this review. So the movie kicks off where we see this wagon being brought in, and then we meet. This is where we meet Marquise Warren, who is a bounty hunter who has, I think it's $8,000 worth of bounty, and this is where he meets. He wants to convince himself to get on in this wagon because it's about to be a giant um, snowstorm or blizzard, and it's set in movies set in Wyoming, and they're heading to Red Rock, and this is where we meet Hangman Ruth and Daisy Domergue, and basically Warren has to try. So he pretty much convinces them to let him in because he's saying, "I don't. She's not my because." Hangman is pretty much he's trying to take this chick to Red Rock to get her home. So, and then Warren mentions he has a letter from Lincoln, and he reads it, and it's seemed real. And then Daisy, I think, says some snarky, and that's all her character, I think, really does in the movie. And I think that's why I say she's kind of weak. Is just all she does in the movie is just be snarky. It gets kind of old. It got kind of old after a while. Like I don't know. But then Warren punches her, which since John is handcuffed to her, she flies out the wagon too. And this is where we meet Chris Mannix, who's who identifies himself as the new sheriff of Red Rock. He's a former marauder for like the South, because this movie is pretty much like essentially post post Civil War, like a decade or so later after the Civil War, and he convinces himself, and there's a part where Warren has to handcuff himself, and John unhandcuffs him basically because he does not trust. He doesn't trust Chris Mannix, and basically they make a deal. Will protect each other's bounties. So Chris Mannix and Warren get into it. And I really like their dynamic. And that's the thing. The fact that this guy is like the VIP of the movie is crazy. Because he's a racist guy who worked with, basically was a Confederate supporter. And then basically they learn about that Warren has a bounty himself. Because he set a prison camp on fire. Just great dialogue moments. And that's the thing about this film. There is action in it. It's not as action heavy like Django, let's say. Because Django, there's a couple action sequences. Where this movie, there are some, but it's largely more of a dialogue movie, which Tarantino knows how to do. I'm one, like I said, I don't need every movie to be like super action heavy if you have a compelling story. And I think Tarantino here does. So they arrive at Minnie's Haberdashery Lodge, and this is where we meet Senior Bob. And Senior Bob, Warren, and Mannix have to put the horses away while Hangman and Daisy go inside. And this is where we meet Oswaldo Morberry, which is Tim Roth, he's fucking awesome in this. He feels like a character you would see in like a Red Dead game. Like, especially like watching this and Django, honestly, and then playing Red Dead Redemption 2. It's almost like this is a great Western movie. Even though it's not really a Western, but it is. Then we meet Joe Gage, which is played by Michael Madsen, who you might recognize. He was in Reservoir Dogs and in Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Mainly 2. He was kind of a small role in the first one. I think you just see him in the first one, but yeah. He does great in this. A lot of just great characters all around. Just characters, that fit this world. So, Oswaldo is playing himself like a hangman. That he's the hangman of Red Rock. And then we also meet General Sanford Smithers, who's a Confederate general. Who you might recognize him. I don't remember the dude's name, but he was in Django. He was the slave owner you see for like a couple of seconds. And Ruth starts getting suspicious of everybody because he thinks they're all trying to get Daisy out. So he basically disarms everybody. Him and Warren disarm everybody. Mannix almost becomes like a fanboy for Smithers because he's from the South, and then we get a scene where Chris Mannix suspects that the whole Lincoln letter Warren has is fake. Warren essentially admits it because he admits it just so he can get a ride. And yeah, it's kind of a really well done scene of this distrust, you know. And then we get it. This is probably where we get, in my opinion, one of the best scenes of the movie. Probably one of the funniest scenes where Warren goes up to Smithers and basically shit talks him by saying, "I killed your son." Because and he leaves a gun there because he's basically antagonizing Smithers to shoot him so he can shoot him. So he talks about basically stripping his son naked and making him suck his dick. Basically, it's fucking funny. It is the way Samuel Jackson delivers that whole scene is so good. And then you got Senior Bob playing, I think, Silent Night on piano in the background. It's so good. And then, so Smithers reaches for the gun out of anger, and then Smithers gets shot by Warren. And then we kind of get to the next chapter where Daisy notices somebody poison the coffee, and this is where we get a quick scene of her playing the guitar, singing a song, which I'll admit she has a pretty good voice. And all around, I think this movie has a really good soundtrack. Tarantino in general knows how to do soundtracks very well. Hold on, let's see how long they're going. But yeah, Tarantino knows how to do soundtracks really well. So while everyone is sitting, Ruth and OB drink this coffee, and then both of them die because of poison. And she's Daisy is laughing about it. Hangman tries to choke her, but she shoots him because he's starting to get worse. And then Warren takes the gun from Domergue and forces everybody against the wall. And this is where it becomes more like a murder mystery. And I think they really did a good job of the tone shift, because in the marketing, you would think this would just be some like Western movie, but no, this turns into a murder mystery. And they basically are figuring out who did it. And he definitely Warren rules out Mannix because Mannix nearly drank the coffee himself. And he starts suspecting Senior Bob because there's a scene earlier where him and Bob are talking, and he said that doesn't sound like Daisy, because this is where he mentions that Daisy has a sign that she doesn't like Mexicans, and basically saying that Bob has been lying the whole time. And then Bob gets shot to death, and Warren threatens to kill Daisy, and then Gage admits it. And then this is where we get the reveal. An unknown man, which is Channing Tatum's character, shoots Warren in the nuts. Pretty fucked up, to be honest. And then Osvaldo shoots Mannix, and they shoot each other. And then the next chapter, I think this is pretty much the second to last chapter, is the flashback where we get what happened before. And it's revealed that Jody, which is that's Channing Tatum, which in my opinion, I know everyone likes Channing Tatum in 21 Jump Street, but I gotta say it, I think this is his best performance. He was so good in this. He actually felt like he fit in this world. You know, because I remember watching this movie the first time because I hadn't seen Channing Tatum do other stuff. I'd only seen him be like the pretty boy kind of hunk dude, or what he was in 21 Jump Street in the second one. So to actually see him play like an actual character was really good. And granted, he's only in a movie for like 10 or so minutes. He's not in it that much. So this is where we get the reveal. Minnie brings him in, and they murder Minnie and several others before they decide to leave the old man alive because they feel like the old man makes the place look presentable because they're there to basically rescue his sister. So, and I think that scene where Channing Tatum is talking to Smithers is really good. Like, he does have that, like, ooh, he actually kind of, because he has that, like, tone, like, I can kill you right fucking now, but I'm not. Like, it was done brilliantly. So I gotta give props to Channing Tatum's acting here. He was really good. I don't know, maybe just in general, Tarantino has that touch. He's that good of a director. He can make, like, just direct anybody. So, and the whole gang is revealed. So it turns out that Oswaldo and Cage and Senior Bob were with Joe, and they have their own little gang because they're waiting for Red Rock. And then pretty much this chapter ends with pretty much the start of where the group arrives. So now we're back to where we are. Jody gets shot by Samuel L. Jackson, which don't blame him. And then Gage gets shot dead by Mannix. And so then Daisy tries to basically pull a deal with Mannix because, oh, my brother has 15 guys on over here. And basically she tries to cut a deal. But Mannix refuses because he basically says, and he's right. She would have let him die because he was about to drink it too, and she didn't say shit. So Mannix ends up painting from blood loss. Daisy tries to fight. She gets a hold of a machete, basically cuts Ruth's arm so she can get let go, and then Mannix shoots her. And then Warren decides instead of shooting her, that they're gonna hang her. And this is where we get the iconic hanging scene where they hang her, and then Mannix reads Lincoln's letter, and then he pretty much dies. They pretty much both die in the end. Really well done movie. Even the point, I should have mentioned this, but there's a point in the movie, I just don't remember which chapter, where a guy is narrating it. I'll admit, initially it got annoying, but I actually like that detail. I love the title card that Tarantino does in his movies. He knows how to make these movies look like they're actually from the 70s with this title. Sorry about that. So, but overall thoughts, I really love this movie. It's not like my number one Tarantino movie, but it's really good. I think there's great performances. VIP, I'm going to always mention, or I'm going to keep mentioning, is Walton Goggins. He is so fucking good in this. And his dynamic with Warren is great. I think Tim Roth was great, even though he didn't have a lot of character development. Just an all-around interesting group of characters. So I heavily recommend it. So Hateful Eight is really good. Yeah, the characters aren't like, I get it. There's people out there who just only prefer, like, they want a straight up good and evil. They don't like this mesh. So I get that. And that's why some people don't like Tarantino movies. So, but all around, if I were to rate this movie out of 10, I'd give it a 9. I think this movie is really well done. It's the set piece is really good. And I like that it's really small. There's not a bunch of, like, sets. So, but yeah, heavily recommend this film. But other than that, later tonight, probably, like, I don't know the exact time when I'm going to do this, but I'm going to review Hardball. I'm probably going to go watch it after I do this review. But yeah, guys, so we're going to continue on with that. And then, like I mentioned, tomorrow we'll be talking about and reacting to the Jurassic World Dominion trailer. So, but other than that, I recommend the Hateful Eight, and yeah. But other than that, fuck Warner Brothers. Actually, before that, take one last sip. Fuck Warner Brothers. Fuck Disney. Fuck LeBron. Fuck Seth Rogen. Fuck Elvira. Fuck Joy Reid. And fuck the Biden administration. I'll talk to y'all a little bit later. Peace.